cases close, but some never rest. When silence screams, we listen. This is dead and wrong.
Indeed, this is Dead and Wrong. It's your weekly podcast about all things dead, people and ghosts, and thankfully, officially winter.
That's Liz.
And that's Sam.
And I'm tired. And we are your host.
That we are. So, everybody sit back and relax for the story that we have for you today. A story that shows what can happen when a police force never gives up.
As always, our socials will be announced at the end.
So, Dead and Wrong presents Episode 7, The Murder of Kristin Smart. So who was Kristin Smart? Kristin Denise Smart was born January 20th, 1977 to Stan and Denise Smart in Augsburg, Bavaria, West Germany. Stan and Denise were both teachers who focused on teaching the American children of military personnel. As a child, her parents, her brother and sister, Matt and Lindsay, and she moved to Stockton, California, where Kristin attended and graduated from Lincoln High School in 1995. She spent her time working as a lifeguard and a camp counselor at Camp Mokuleia in Hawaii. Kristin struggled adjusting to college, which is not a strange occurrence as plenty of kids do, but she was never one to shy away from a challenge. In fact, she never shied away from anything. Even with the distance, Kristin kept in contact with her family, making sure to call every Sunday and talk with everyone and just keep,
In touch.
Yeah, well, keep in touch and keep herself going because she still had that connection with her family. Her brother Matt, who was the younger brother, called her an artist, an adventurer, and an individual who was just full of life. So at 19 years old, Kristin was a freshman attending California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo?
San Luis Obispo.
San Luis Obispo. The name of the university is going to be brought up a lot during this, so we will be calling it Cal Poly, which is often what people refer it to anyways. So, Friday, May 24th, 1996, Kristin attended an off-campus party in San Luis Obispo, California. Her friends had dropped her off at the house located at 135 Crandall Way. May 25th at about 2 a.m., the party was over and she walked back to her dormitory. She was accompanied by two other students, Paul Flores and Cheryl Anderson. Cheryl walked with the two until she departed at the intersection of Perimeter Road and Grand Avenue to head to her own place. On May 27th, Jennifer Phipps, a close friend of Kristin's, along with a few others who were a part of Kristin's quote-unquote inner circle, noticed that she wasn't around. So been roughly 2 days and they still hadn't seen her. So they went and checked on her in her dorm, but all they found was her purse, her ID, money, clothes, but she was nowhere around. Worried, Jennifer called the Cal Poly police, so the campus police, to report that Kristin had not returned to the dorm and was missing. They told Jennifer that since Kristin was over 18, they had to actually wait a full 24 hours before the report could be filed.
Of course.
Yes. So with nothing being done, Jennifer took a different approach and actually contacted the San Luis Obispo police.
It's so hard for you to say, isn't it?
It is.
San Luis Obispo.
Well, we're not all from California, Sam. So they do start a report, but ultimately they actually refer Jennifer back to the Cal Poly police. I think because another department got involved, the campus police actually take a report. And this is when Kristin's parents, Denise and Stan, finally learned that something has happened to their daughter. So she'd been missing for a few days and they didn't know yet. Denise was immediately scared that something bad had happened to Kristin because her just not showing up, her not calling them on Sundays was something she did not do. Remember, in the beginning, she called them every Sunday.
It was out of character.
Out of character. Her friends are saying she's gone. And the last time they had seen her was like super early the day of the party, like the morning of the party. So, with having another police department involved, the campus police start their investigation right away. And they start with the interview of Paul, who was the male that had walked home with her. Part of what drew them to Paul, besides the previous mentioned, was the reputation he had around campus. He was awkward to the point where multiple women reported being uncomfortable around him. Like they actually went to staff and other people and made the report.
I wonder what it was that he was doing that was making them feel uncomfortable.
We'll get there. When asked about him walking home with Kristin, Paul told them the two had separated near Santa Lucia Hall. So they asked Paul how the two knew each other, and he told them he met Kristin at the party, she came on to him, and she introduced herself actually as Roxy. The police during this investigation / questioning of Paul quickly took notice of the nice shiner Paul had, so they asked him how he got his black eye, to which he stated he was playing a basketball game on Monday, he got it during the game. And he did play basketball, and there was a game on that Monday, so the police didn't have any other questions and let him go. 2 days later, campus investigators Ray Barrett and Mike Kennedy interview Paul for a second time, this time at their office. He still denied all involvement, continuing with his statement that he walked with her till it was his time to separate and go to his own dorm. And that's all that they really put out in anything. It doesn't go specific into why they questioned him a second time or what was actually said. So at the same time as this all going on, the Cal Poly police begin their first set of searches for Kristin on campus. And during these searches, they did try to follow up on leads of potential sightings of Kristin, but they all turned out to be nothing. And I do want to point out, Kristin was 6'1".
Wow.
So she was a tall blonde, and she was blonde, super tall. She would have stood out.
Yeah.
So then on May 31st, investigators from the San Luis Obispo County District Attorney's Office took over the case and interviewed Paul again. These investigators are Bill Hanley and Larry Hobson. So 5 days after they take over, Kennedy, one of the detectives for the Cal Poly Police, searched Kristin's room in Muir Hall for evidence, and then, because this was basically at the end of the school year, collected her property for safekeeping. 5 more days passed, and then Kennedy searched Paul's room, but his roommate had already moved out for the summer, and none of his property was found. So, back to the...
Coincidence.
Yeah. Back to the attorney's investigators, Bill. So he did some digging of his own through all this, because sometimes when sports are going on in college, as most people know, sports students will sometimes stay later in the year because they have other stuff they have to do.
Yeah.
So Bill did some more digging, talked around with some of the students, and came across one of Paul's basketball teammates who still happened to be on campus. Surprise, surprise, Bill learns that during Paul's first interview, where the black eye was brought up, he lied because this teammate happened to tell them that when he showed up for basketball on Monday, he already had the black eye. And Bill then found one of Paul's flatmates and learned that he hadn't returned home till 5 a.m. And Paul told them he split from Kristin around 2 a.m. and went home. So their dorms are within walking distance. So, after learning these things, Bill brought Paul back in for a third time, but videotaped the interview. During this interview, Bill called out Paul for his lie about the black eye, to which Paul admitted he lied and stated that he actually received it while he was working on his truck over the weekend. Well, they started forming other questions, but before they could ask him, he just stood up and left the interview saying he wasn't going to answer any more questions.
Can you do that?
If they just brought him in for questioning and didn't actually have him in an official interview where they read him his rights and everything, yes, you can just leave.
Oh, I don't think I actually knew that.
Now, once you're telling you, like, you are under interrogation, you have your Miranda rights, you are not allowed to leave. But if you're just in there for questioning and you want to leave, they have to let you leave. So, about a week after all this, the San Luis Obispo County's Sheriff's Office lent their assistant to the Cal Poly Police. Detective Ed Williams was directly requested by Police Chief Tom Mitchell for assistance, to which he obliges. And basically with this, the campus police give it the whole entire case to the sheriff's office. So
That's
for
good.
the next 2 days, which are the 29th and 30th of June, these investigators hit the case hard. They managed to get over 400 volunteers to help conduct a massive campus-wide search. They also managed to get permission to search the Cold Canyon landfill, which actually cost the university $16,000 to do.
Wow.
Cadaver dogs were brought in, and they were used to help search for either her or any possible clues. Not shocking to the investigators, and probably not shocking to anybody listening to this, 4 of these dogs reacted to Paul's dorm room, specifically to his stripped mattress. So let me be clear real quick. The purpose of cadaver dogs. These dogs are trained specifically to alert to human decomposition. Decomposition obviously happens after you die. So they alerted to Paul's room, specifically his stripped mattress, for basically something dead, specifically human.
I don't think he's innocent anymore.
No.
Wow.
And if it doesn't get any more like pinpointed towards Paul, they searched 113 rooms, took all these dogs to 113 different rooms, and they only hit Paul's room and specifically his mattress. For whatever reason, this was not enough to make an arrest.
How is that not enough to make an arrest? It's not like he was
I
a
don't know.
taxidermy in there.
Probably because even though they alerted to human remains, there's still no proof of putting specifically Kristin in his room. However, this did allow them to further their investigation with search warrants. So on July 17th, the investigators searched the home of Paul and his parents in Arroyo Grande. No clues to Kristin's whereabouts were located. Up until near the end of the investigation completely, they actually declined what information was gathered. And then 2 days after the 17th, a billboard was put up on Highway 101 as a reminder for Kristin's disappearance. And then obviously, if anybody has any information, reach out to this number to let us know. So from there, everything slows down until roughly October 15th, to which the prosecutors decided to make a big move and subpoena different people to testify before a grand jury. Included in this list of people was Paul's parents and obviously Paul. Paul's parents were Reuben and Susan. So these subpoenas were not issued as an indictment, and an indictment means like you bring it before the grand jury and they decide if you have enough evidence to have charges, to have the charges go through and actually start the trial.
Okay.
For us, grand jury is only felonies. So if it's anything like a misdemeanor, we don't do grand
Who's
juries.
for us? Are you talking about like...
My office and everything
Okay.
around all the locals around here.
Okay.
But that's usually what an indictment is. But because they were able to summon them as witnesses, they were questioned under oath, therefore they had to answer. This little grand jury session was never made public and is still sealed to this day. I looked multiple sources, couldn't figure out what was said, but all that is known is Paul immediately took up his Fifth Amendment right, so the right to remain silent, and he refused to speak.
I mean, I'm all for the Fifth Amendment, but like, if you didn't do anything,
You have nothing to hide.
you have nothing to hide.
So the following month, Stan and Denise, as a reminder, these are Kristin's parents, file a $40 million wrongful death lawsuit against Paul. As of 2024, the lawsuit's still going. So 1996, and this is
crazy.
still being fought over. So Kristin's parents fully believe that Paul killed Kristin, and that basically the Cal Poly campus police officials failed to keep her safe. Originally, a superior court judge was actually going to dismiss the university from the civil case, but they actually gave Stan and Denise a chance to prove why Cal Poly needed to be involved. And The university case itself is still ongoing with this family. They're still fighting against them. So,
Seriously? It's a lot of lawyer fees.
it's because of everything that kind of happens from here, of why it's still ongoing. More information was added later to add against their case.
Oh, okay.
So the next following information is actually going to be going specifically by date. So February 21st, 1997, California Governor Pete Wilson offers a $50,000 reward for any information that would lead to an arrest and conviction for Kristin's case, which was later boosted to $75,000.
Dang.
March 4th, a search of rental property belonging to Paul's family is conducted. No leads are located. March 23rd, Sheriff Williams, the sheriff of the county, makes an official statement where they are saying Paul is their only suspect. So they suspect him, they just need the evidence to convict him. So March 8th, 1998, the new county sheriff, Pat Hedges, reaches out to the FBI and asks for assistance with the investigation. Shout out to this law enforcement agency to actually stepping up and going to someone bigger with more resources and going, we need help.
Yeah.
And so the FBI begins to help with interviewing hundreds of staff and students of Cal Poly. Through all this, no new evidence is found. August 12th, the Kristin Smart Campus Safety Act of 1998 is signed into law by Governor Wilson. This requires universities to contact law enforcement when a violent crime occurs within campus grounds. I did a little digging, probably should have looked more into it, but I think it's like the day of. Like if they get a report, the campus has to report it to local law enforcement.
I think I remember hearing that about a few other campuses. That's why we have the blue lights on campus.
It's a smart thing.
It is a smart thing. Campus is scary at night.
I was in a late night class. Best class ever, Fundamentals of Brewing Science. Basically, it taught us how to brew beer. 10 out of 10 recommend. There were only 2 girls in the class. I was one of them, and our professors refused to let us walk to our cars alone because the class ended at like 11 o'clock at night.
Those are good professors.
So either one of them would walk us to our car or they made one of the guys walk us to the car. Oh, like shout
Good safety.
out to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, May 25th, 2002 comes, and this is the day that no one wanted to come. The news that no parent, sibling, friend, or loved one wants to hear. Her body has not been located yet, but Kristin Smart is officially declared dead. March 24th, 2016, this is the 20th anniversary. Kristin is described as being a girl with dreams and visions for the future. They all got together and spoke about her, and this was put out.
Like a visual.
September 6th, 2016, the current sheriff of San Luis Obispo County, Ann Parkinson, announces a new lead for the potential location of Kristin's remains. So September 6th, 2016, the current sheriff of San Luis Obispo County, Ann Parkinson, announces a new lead for the potential location of Kristin's remains. It was believed she was potentially buried on a hillside near the quote-unquote P of the campus. I'm guessing they had like a giant P.
Mm-hmm.
So someone alerted them a body may have been buried. They do a 5-day excavation that was conducted by the FBI and the sheriff's office together. They went through almost 20,000 cubic feet of dirt where they ended up collecting different bones and a possible item of interest.
Different bones?
Yes.
Jeez.
The labs did determine the bones to be animal bones, but
Okay.
I was never able to find what that item of interest was.
Oh.
So, May 28th, 2017. So this was not a part of the investigation, didn't have anything to do with the investigation, but I read this and it just hit home very hard, and this is close to my heart. So Kristin's family starts a website that allows businesses and other organizations to donate to a non-profit scholarship fund. This would go towards women who are seeking degrees in law enforcement, forensic science, and architecture.
Wow, that's a really good organization to start for that.
Yes. I mean, I feel like this is, you can tell that, it's over 20 years later, and the county is still working on this case.
Hmm?
And, this is proof of how much they respect the police department, the county, the sheriff's office.
Well, the area itself is it's small. It's not a massive city or town. Like, it's a small place, so you have to take care of each other.
So, in 2018, Chris Lambert reaches out to Stan and Denise wanting to create and launch a podcast called Your Own Backyard. This podcast would retrace the case and hopefully bring more attention to it and maybe present new leads. So, the reason why Chris reached out to them was that in 1996, Chris was 8 years old and was from the area. He did
Mhm.
not know who Kristin was, but he said for years he saw her face on billboards. And as he
Billboards.
says, her story was literally rooted in his backyard. So like he wanted to help. This was something he grew up with. So September 25th, 2019, the podcast generates a massive amount of public interest, and one of their most vested listeners was the sheriff and Parkinson, because this was something he wanted to solve. And the podcast apparently actually did wonders for the case. Finally, in 2020, things started to change for the better. They were able to get warrants written up and approved to tap Paul's phone. This came from partly due to a conversation overheard by Paul and his mother, where his mother was telling him to listen to the podcast so they could punch holes in it.
What?
Because it goes over the case so they would know everything and be able to like counteract it when they were questioned.
I mean, that's conniving. Is it
Very
conniving the
conniving.
word I want?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then after that, they were able to get a search warrant for the properties of Paul's family again. And the
Did they find
team,
something?
when they got a hold of Paul's phone, it finally painted the picture that everybody was searching for. Trigger warning for this next few seconds. Paul's a disgusting man. Located
I
on
just read forward a little bit, and you know I don't.
Located on his phone were multiple downloaded pornography videos where the topic was raping drunk college students. This was in 2020. He's a full grown adult. 20, 30 years later, he would have been like 20, so he would have been 40, 50 now.
Yeah. Well, in 2020,
He
he'd be
probably would have
40
been around
something.
40 something.
Yeah.
When they did more digging, not only did they find those videos, they found homemade videos. Trigger warning again. These videos included Paul having sex with women who appeared to be unconscious.
Oh, God.
It gets worse.
No.
Sorry. So, obviously this now they're really searching. So when they search his home, they locate prescription sedatives. And
He
then
roofied them?
it doesn't fully go into it, but yes, I'm pretty sure he roofied them.
What a dirtbag.
They also searched his father's house, which occurred in March of 2021, where they found traces of human decomposition in the deep soil under a deck in his backyard. This evidence was sadly too degraded and they were unable to perform DNA tests to confirm if it was Kristin or not, but it's been located, it's there. It's still continuing to build that picture. So, January, backing up before they searched the houses, in January of 2020, the sheriff office kind of put out how much work they had put into this because people wanted to know. So, since 2011, so new sheriff, they reopened the case, basically. They served 18 search warrants, conducted physical evidence searches at 9 different locations, submitted 37 evidence items from the early days for modern DNA testing, and then recovered 140 new items of evidence, which included 2 trucks that belonged to different members of Paul's family.
Wow.
They stored evidence from 1996 so well that they were able to retest 37 pieces. That tells you that when they stored the evidence, they had 100% confidence that they were going to retest it.
This is like
This
the
is
best
amazing.
police work.
Minus the cow Polly not really doing much the first day or so, the sheriff's office is doing great.
Yeah, they are.
So
They need gold stars. Oh, you guys already wear gold stars.
yeah, we already do our gold stars. They also told everybody that in the beginning, so when in the late 90s, early 2000s, they conducted 91 in-person interviews and had 364 supplemental reports.
Wow.
Like, they took their main report and then did so much that they had more reports to add to it, almost a year's worth of reports.
That's so crazy.
In total, they said approximately $62,000 of investigative expenses were completed during this whole case. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, but
So Cal Poly may not have done anything, but the sheriff's office, they never stopped. So between the new searches and then the phone tap, they finally had enough to make an arrest. On April 13th, 2021, Paul Flores and his father Ruben were both arrested.
him and his father?
Yup. Paul was charged with murder and Ruben was charged with being an accessory after the fact. A few days following the arrests, the county district attorney reported that they believed, trigger warning, Paul had caused Kristin's death while he was either attempting to rape or actively raping her.
Sorry.
It was then also announced that some of the new evidence recorded at the time showed Paul murdered Kristin and then his father helped him cover up the crime. Personally, I think his mother did too. So, of course, on April 19th, both men plead not guilty. Shocker. During this, Paul is actually denied bail and is considered to be a public safety risk.
Yeah.
Which comes from the dozens of women that recounted being sexually assaulted by Paul over the past 25 years.
Castration? Like, why can't we do that?
So, a prime example of this, because they did put out some of Paul's past. I'm just going to say this whole paragraph is somewhat of a trigger warning. So here's why Paul should have been the prime suspect from the get-go, and they should have hit him hard from day one. So December 1995, so this is a few months before Kristin goes missing, a female student filed a complaint that Paul was harassing her, which included him climbing the trellis of the apartments to spy on her from her own balcony.
And they didn't think that that was important?
Nope.
To do something?
But it gets worse. January of 1996, so this is a month later, and the year Kristin disappears. Paul is reported for vandalizing the campus grounds while intoxicated, and during this was alleged to have harassed one of the staff members.
So we're harassing staff members and we're not doing anything about it.
And we're not getting kicked off campus. Because in March of that year, now 2 months before Kristin goes missing, 3 different female students file reports of accusing him of stalking and harassment. He called them for 6 weeks straight and filled their answering machines with hang-up calls. Like, he'd call them, let it go silent for a little bit, and then hang up. And
so we now have 5 people within a 6-month span, and we've done nothing?
Yes. And they said, just like that first girl, he climbed onto their balconies, and then he actually tried to break in. He tried to break into their dorm rooms, and the campus did nothing about it. If they would have just kicked him, if they would have just kicked him off campus from the get-go, Kristin would be alive. This is 100% on the campus for not kicking him off.
Yeah, and now I can see why the family continued their...
And is actively still trying to sue them. And this is why the judge allowed it. Because of this.
Yeah.
A lawsuit that was also pushed through revealed that in December of 2024...
I keep making sounds with my mouth because I have my hand pressed up against my mouth. I'm in shock of everything that's going on.
I can't remember if that's 20... That's either 20... No, that's 2014. It's supposed to be 2014. So, a lawsuit that was conducted during the trial revealed that in December of 2014, Paul was arrested on suspicion of assault and battery. With the case, so this is all going after he's getting arrested through jury and everything, 2 women come forward and testify that in 2008 and 2011, Paul drugged and sexually assaulted them.
Uh,
And like the thing is, if that original lawsuit against the wrongful death of their daughter back in the like that I talked about at the beginning, if that
mhm.
had gone through, this would have never happened.
Yeah, if they would just arrested him then.
hmm So it was learned that Paul's way of going after women was to offer them rides to their houses and then he would drug and rape them.
And this is why we don't get in cars with people.
Yes. So during the trial, it was also learned that he was under investigation for 2 other sexual assaults.
Jesus, what number are
One,
we up to now?
too many to count. One was by the LA Police Department. No, the two were. So these 2 sexual assault cases were from the LA Police Department. They also learned he was linked to a rape that happened in 2007 by the Redondo Police Department. Redondo Police Department. So yes, within this own case, he is now being linked to other cases basically involving him drugging and raping women. His dad, however,
I'm shocked for words. Like,
yeah, I was shocked reading this. It was a lot. So Reuben, that his Paul's dad, was not deemed a public safety risk and was given a bond of $50,000 and was released that evening. He was ordered to not leave the county, and so he had to surrender his passport and he got put under electronic monitoring. So he got an ankle monitor. So July 15th, 2021, there's still more. Several records are unsealed by Judge Von Ruin. So what was unsealed was they were finally able to say what that evidence that was located in Reuben's home was. The dirt, the DNA evidence. It was human blood.
Jeez.
But it was, so I mean, you do have only a specific time for blood before you can't test it because it's just been destroyed. So was at least human blood. So April 13th, 2022, the case is moved to Monterey County due to pretrial publicity and the chance of them not receiving a fair trial. I mean, everybody in the county knew about this, and everybody in the county wanted it solved. So, like this, they said they did so many like candlelit vigils for her. I have no doubt that a jury would be more willing to convict. And Monterey County was over an hour away. So, because obviously these guys are douchebags, they obviously have douchebag defense attorneys. So between April 13th and October 5th, defense attorneys for Reuben and Paul attempt to get the case dismissed 4 different times, which thankfully were never accepted. The attorneys first claimed there was no real evidence and that this was just a conspiracy theory made by the prosecutors.
That's them fishing at straws there.
Yep, denied.
Grasping at straws.
They then claimed that this was an outrageous government conduct, so that the government was wrong. They dismissed that. And then they moved on to that there was misconduct from the prosecutors.
No?
That was dismissed. September of that year, another woman comes forward and testifies that Paul raped her. She said she met him at a bar and he basically forced himself on her, and at one point she was telling him no and screaming as he tried to shove a red ball gag into her mouth. Of course, Paul was like, that never happened. Well, it was proven.
Carrying that around?
Well, it was proven, apparently so. Well, this was proven to be accurate because one of those lovely homemade videos he made showed the red ball gag being used on an unconscious woman.
Well, good thing he made those videos. I mean, not a good thing that he made them, but a good thing because it's going to take him down.
So finally, what everybody wants to hear, what the parents wanted to hear, what Kristin's loved ones wanted to hear, what Sam wanted to hear, as she was horrified during this. She did not know what this case entailed. The look she was giving me through most of this.
I am shocked.
October 18th, 2022, Paul Flores is found guilty of the first-degree willful and premeditated murder of Kristin Smart. His father was not found guilty, but at least Paul was found guilty.
Yeah. is just so thankful. He should have been found guilty years ago.
He should have. So he he's found guilty. So then in December, Paul's official sentencing is delayed until March 2023 because his attorney attempted to file a motion for a new trial.
I can't with these lawyers.
And this was fought heavily because you know how he had the homemade videos. Let's not forget about the evidence of children pornography photos found in his home. He had photos of kids in his home. Fuck him, fuck him, fuck him.
I really have nothing to say. I am so shocked. I'm just...
But this next paragraph, loved it. I was so thrilled to be reading this part. So March 10th, 2023 comes. So remember, they moved the trial to a new county. The judge was Jennifer O'Keefe. She denies it because guys, Jennifer O'Keefe, she's a boss-ass bitch. She is, because of what she does. So Paul is given a sentence of 25 years to life in a state prison.
That's
and
it?
this woman, this judge, this saint, this perfect role model for every woman out there, tells Paul, like this is at the end of the trial, tells Paul straight to his face, "You are a cancer to society."
Yes.
Yes, my queen. She was like,
Oh
fuck
my
you.
God.
Yeah, he is. He is a major cancer to society that should have been put out years ago. And May 26, 2023, it should have never needed to be done, but I'm glad they did it. Cal Poly officially issues a public apology to Kristin's family
A
for
little
their
late there,
fuck-ups.
but glad it's done.
I mean, it's more than what the Italian police did for Amanda Knox.
True.
They still haven't apologized. So, there's a little bit more, because the investigators didn't stop. They kind of
Good
still wanted
job.
to go after Paul's mom. So January 30th, 2023, June 30th, 2023. I'm just too excited about that.
I know
Judge
you are.
O'Keefe. She's a boss-ass bitch. They find evidence of human body decomposition near Susan's front yard.
So they had it in the backyard and in the front yard?
His parents at this point were separated. So their theory overall was that he killed her. Dad helped move. When it started getting suspicions of them potentially searching homes, they moved the body to his mom's house. And then they helped dispose of it.
Oh my God. What?
I couldn't find anything of what happened with Paul's mom, but I think there's still some things going on.
This is crazy.
There are some good things that happen.
Please tell me good things. I need some good things right now.
So, April 2023, Paul is in prison at Pleasant Valley State Prison, and he's attacked. He's stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
So, he's stabbed by a guy named Jason Budrow. Jason was in prison for killing his girlfriend in 2011.
I mean, that's not cool.
No, but while he was in jail, he also killed a serial rapist and killer known as the I-5 Strangler. He killed him while they were both in jail. He's like, I can kill my own girlfriend, but I don't like rapists.
I mean, he's got standards.
Hey, better than nothing. In April 2024, Paul is attacked again. Not as bad as the first time. So he's still alive and in prison. But people keep attacking him.
Okay.
I'm guessing they got word of the child pornography, and his standing went downhill from there. So, as I noted very on, Stan and Denise, Kristin's parents, they did try to sue the university because they believed if the university would have acted quicker, Kristin's death could have been prevented. And this is still an active civil suit. So they're still going against the university.
I mean, we can see a lot that the university didn't step up to do that they probably should have. And hopefully the university has learned, their mistakes and are doing
better. Sadly, there's nothing they can do now except, next time someone says, hey, one of our friends are missing, probably go look into it right away.
Yeah.
It's better to look into it and just find out she was like spending the night with a friend off campus than not do anything and something like this happen.
Yeah.
It's like people
better safe than sorry.
It's like people who accidentally call 911 and they always apologize. I'm like, I'd rather come here and just see that your phone accidentally dialed it than us ignore it and then the next day we get called in saying like you've been killed.
Yeah.
And that
Oh no, that's not the end. We're gonna. So, the reason why I've been so shocked over this whole case is that my little sister asked Liz to look into this case. And for me, not knowing anything about this case and listening to it and knowing that my sister attended this college was what mortified me more, knowing that this was something that they're warning the girls about and telling them and having them to stay in packs or groups and don't go out alone. And then she even mentioned what did she mention, Liz?
Was it the
The one that
bridge?
shocked you? The bridge. What was it?
Wasn't it called like Rapist Bridge or something?
Yeah, I think that's what she said. Yeah, beware of the rapist bridge. Like the fact that this is what the girls are being told to
Like,
stay away from or
still
how
to
to be
this day.
safe. Yeah, still to this
Like,
day.
that should tell you something about that campus. Like, why do you have a bunch of girls in sororities saying, "Hey, be careful of this bridge because if you go on it alone at night, there's a good chance you're going to get raped," basically.
Yeah, like it's terrifying. Like and for California, this school is known for the party school. But for it to be a party school and then girls to be terrified not to be safe there, I really hope the school puts better effort into it and is just having more police there, more
More of a
presence on the
presence. Or like,
campus.
if you have a bridge that's that dangerous, put a lot more lights up there.
Mm-hmm. Cameras.
Put cameras. Put an old school phone booth up there. Like, I feel like you
Why
could
an
do,
old school phone
or like
booth?
a red phone that all it does is
Ah.
basically call 911.
Mm.
So like as soon as it gets picked up.
So it immediately calls. Yeah, like those are things that need to be done. But anyway, so shout out to my little sister. Right now, we're just going to call her the ghost host Scarlet.
I love that. Our
For
ghost host.
our ghost host Scarlet for bringing us this traumatizing case for us to, well, Liz
Yes.
to look into and me to listen and
Yeah,
just
I had to, not
jaw
only
on the
did I have to read
floor.
all this and then look it all up, I had to reread it and remember everything.
Yeah,
And
this is
our
crazy.
our lovely ghost host will be making a guest appearance soon.
Yes,
Be super excited
yes, she
for it.
will be. So, all right,
I
well,
will say, what are your thoughts and opinions? But we already know. Any praises for O'Keefe? That was the female
uh,
judge.
we need a lot more like her. We need a lot more women in that position.
We have a one of our head attorneys. She runs the juvenile court, and I love working with her. Like she's
Good.
solid.
Solid 10.
She's I love doing every case, and she's like on top of it. And like just because it's a kid, like a 15-year-old, and they play like, oh, I'm just a kid. Like she won't let that slide. She'll be like, nope.
If if you're gonna make adult decisions, you get adult consequences.
Mhm.
At least that's my opinion. Anyways, thank you for listening and going down this rough journey with us. Okay.
And as a reminder, we do have socials up and running. We will provide updates of episode releases and any fun things we come across. We have Facebook, Instagram, and you can listen to these on Spotify and eventually YouTube. I'm having technical difficulties with it right now, but
You've been called out on them.
I am trying. Yes, I've been called out on this. I'm trying. Everything is under Dead and Wrong Podcast. And then please feel free to send in theories, case suggestions, things that you would like to know about, or maybe something you participated in, kind of, or like how Ghost Host Scarlet did it. And she wasn't there at that time, but it's a story that has been passed down to her as she attended the university. And of course, please send in pictures of your pets because I just want to look at all the cute animals, and so does Sam. Everything you want to send us can be sent to deadandwrongpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that is deadandwrongpodcast@gmail.com, all one word, and we will see you next week for episode 8, which may potentially be one of Sam's
Bye.
spooky episodes. We will see.
I'm actually working on them, so we're good.
Yeah, I'm proud of her. She's ahead of the game for herself for once. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.